And that's sometimes what short form fails to do. I just keep everything in. So it's kind of like people feel like they're there with me.
That's quite spooky.
Filming all day, try and get like 3 videos done in a day. I used to be able to do like 4.
3 videos a day?
Yeah. That's how.
20 minutes each?
Sometimes more.
Are you ready? Happy Halloween, Lost Creators. And on today's show, we question, is long form dead? Harry Jaggard joins us as we explore how he makes 5 videos a day, how he went from 0 to 200,000 subscribers in under a year, and how to make a killer living from making content for countries with lower CPM, such as India, the Philippines, and Pakistan. Hi there, I'm Robbie, and you're watching or listening to the Lost Creator Podcast, a show where we interview some of the most unique and influential people in the content creation world in the hopes of inspiring you to escape that 9-to-5 and live out your dreams. And on today's very special Halloween episode, we are joined by Mr. Harry Jaggard. Say hello.
Thank you for having me, bro.
And of course, Mr. Christian Los LeBlanc. How you doing? It's a great look, guys. We look very, very spooky.
I'm
obviously
terrified.
We're celebrating Halloween today, so
We're celebrating the death of long form.
the death of long form.
Or is it? Or is it?
Or is it? And that's why we're so grateful to have you here with us today, Harry, because I think you're kind of really leading one of the ways in showing us that long form really, truly, that long format isn't necessarily dead. In fact, it's an increasing interest that people have. First of all, just tell us a little bit about yourself. What got you into YouTube? What got you into content creation?
So used to be a freelance videographer, so I've always known about video, and in the pandemic started making TikToks. They did pretty well, and that gave me the confidence to like just keep going at it. Made friends with some like really like helpful and successful YouTubers, and they kind of paved the way and just mentored me, and started posting November last year, posted every single day, daily vlogged for around 10 months, I think. And now we're here, just like learned on the job, kept traveling, and luckily got to where I am now.
Did you say post every day for 10 months?
Every day for 10 months.
Wow. Okay, wild. Yeah. That's a long journey. I mean, it's not long in the scheme of things, but 10 months of a daily streak?
Yeah.
Did you miss any uploads?
Yes, I missed a few, like because of I was like in the North Pakistan mountains, had no Wi-Fi. So
Damn. And tell me, like, what does that look like for today? Like, what is Harry's social channels accumulated to now?
So YouTube is like that's my baby. That's the one I'm like most focused on. 220K. Facebook, also like really trying to grow Facebook, like 200, that's my biggest actually, 245K.
Wow.
And then I'm trying not to focus on too many platforms. I'm just like trying to be efficient on those two. And then TikTok I have, but I don't really post as much. It's just like on the side for the moment. But I should be posting, and I do have a team. I have 2 employees now, which I'm really happy with. But again, it's just like I don't want to spread myself too thin at the moment, so just focusing on those 2 for now.
Wow, I think that's really impressive. Like that level of growth to happen that fast.
Thank you, bro.
And even like to add your first team members, that's something that normally takes people, a long time to get to. Do you think it's the mentorship and like having people that have helped you jump to the next hoops?
100%. Like I have a group chat with the boys, Mac, Luke, and Ali. And we were always bouncing ideas off each other. Like literally couldn't have done it without them. They are the GOATs. And that's what I'd say to other people is like, rise with other people, like have a group chat, bounce ideas, bounce thumbnails, have a community. It's like 4 minds are better than 1. And it's so good to have help. And everyone always thinks, I think creators are sometimes a little bit like selfish with like ideas, but like there's just so many views to go around. You just like share information.
Oh my God, yeah, endless. That's so cool.
Yeah.
When you were posting daily for 10 months, what kind of length of videos were these that you were posting?
Shorter than they are now, like around 20 minutes, maximum 40 minutes, but usually on the 20-minute side. And yeah, I just say like quantity over quality at that point at the start. And I'd say that quantity leads to quality. So like just keep making them. And because I had that, I was like, there's no way I'm stopping daily. And so I had to post. And so it kind of just forced me to get out there and get the content done.
Yeah, well, we had Upton here on the podcast, and he kind of said, it's done is better than perfect.
Yeah.
Because perfect leads to that kind of struggle to get something out on time, and just getting it out. The perfection will come with
Exactly.
With time.
But Upton, despite being daily, he's still very different style.
Yes.
He's like a 1 minute video. You're 20 minutes a day of content. So there's got to be something going on that a lot of creators aren't quite doing, which is, I think, going to be a big, meaty part of today's conversation is understanding how do you get out 20 minutes of content in a single day?
Like, I guess just going around and doing just filming everything. Like, a lot of people will cut parts where they're just walking down the street and talking about the people around them and the experiences, trying the food, but I just keep everything in. So it's kind of like people feel like they're there with me, and it makes it very real. And it is, like my best performing video is like 50 minutes long.
Wow.
And obviously,
What was it?
a $10 challenge in India.
Okay.
It's got something like 2.4 million views or something like that.
Something like that.
A bit more than that, which is obviously insane for a 50-minute video. You think usually people will see 50-minute on the time mark and be a little bit kind of apprehensive of whether to explore a 50-minute video on YouTube. But
Exactly.
obviously, it performed kind of well. What do you think were some of the kind of key tips that really allowed it to do so well?
I'd say it's a challenge, so it has a great storyline. So people will want to stick to the end to see what the outcome of the challenge is. And also, like, I have been following like Mr. Beast. Obviously, he's like the most successful YouTuber. So I've been following a lot of what he says, and he says that like YouTube will push the content to the people who watch. So, for example, if people like watching long videos, YouTube will push them long videos. If people like watching short videos, YouTube will push them short videos. So obviously, like, people are getting the long video that I posted, and so YouTube just pushed it to more of those people that prefer the long form content.
Yeah, there's definitely. So you think that in an age where short form is becoming it seems dominant, right? You go on TikTok, you go on Instagram, it's like everything is between 7 seconds and like 30. Do you feel like there's still a place for long form?
Yeah, I think there will always be that niche. People will always want to, it may be getting smaller, but I think there's always going to be people who want to sit down and watch a really long video, even if they're not focusing on it 100%. And it all just comes down to story. Like, if it has a good story, I think it will do well. And that's sometimes what short form fails to do, is like a real good storyline. If you have a good story, the video should do well. And obviously, if you have a good title and thumbnail, then it's just good recipe.
I feel like when I go on social media, like, I have different levels of satisfaction with different platforms. Instagram, it's like I lose 30 minutes there. I'm like, why did I go on there? TikTok, it's a little bit better. It's a little bit more niche to what I want. But when I go on YouTube, I feel like I actually am enjoying myself. I'm I'm brought into a story, and I'm like better off because of it. I think there's always going to be a place for YouTube. Like, it's just such a good platform. And you're creating such a deep connection with people. You must have people that watch every single video you post.
Yeah.
20 minutes a day of Harry. That's a lot of time watching you.
I know. I couldn't even watch myself for that long. Yes, some of the comments I get are just incredible. Like, people comment every single video, and I make sure I reply to those guys, because they are just like so nice of them to do that. But
have you ever met these people that are like your everyday like loyals?
Not like the super fans, but I've definitely met some of my fans. Yeah.
Yeah.
But actually, on the topic of sort of the people that are there that watch you kind of every day, obviously you're posting, and having to post on the daily is keeping that is sustaining that relationship with them. Are there any other steps that you're taking to also kind of keep that community strength going?
Always engaging in the comments. That's like super important for me. Like
every comment.
No, not every comment. Like, I try and do, for the first hour that it comes out, I just reply to as many as possible. And I also have my personal assistant reply to some of them as well when I'm super busy traveling. It just like creates the relationship with the viewer, and that's also like what I'd say YouTube has the unique selling point over TikTok and Instagram. Is like, you really feel a connection with your viewers. With TikTok, I don't think I even know who I follow on TikTok, or like I don't know who follows me, and whereas YouTube, like I could tell you who I follow and who I like. So I think creating a relationship is really important. And then to be successful, I would also say just like nail the thumbnail. I think starting creators who are struggling, one of the main reasons is why they're struggling is because they just don't have a great thumbnail or a title. So just catchy thumbnail and title.
I totally agree with that. Yeah, the branding of the video is so critical. Now, tell me, if I want to create every day, whether it be 10 to 20 minutes, what is your day looking like? So that, like, give me a bit of a walkthrough. Like, from the moment you leave your hotel room, go out to shoot, are you charging your batteries at night? Are you importing your videos, and are you editing during the morning? Like, how does your day usually look?
So it's changed over the last year. Like I've become super efficient at it. I'd say it's like I like to sprint and then take a rest. So I go to a country, film as many videos as possible, and then come to a place like Bali where I just chill. And it basically involves like going out, shooting as many videos as possible in a day, filming literally all day. I shoot everything on my GoPro. I have a battery pack and a portable charger, so I'm charging batteries on the go, swapping them out. The GoPro batteries don't last very long at all, so it's like super frustrating. But filming all day, try and get like 3 videos done in a day. I used to be able to do like 4.
3 videos a day?
Yeah. That's how.
20 minutes each?
Sometimes more, sometimes 40. And just filming everything, and I'm literally filming I leave the hotel at 10 a.m., get back at 7 p.m., and then dump the footage on the hard drive and then send them to my editor.
Wow.
And then it's like super intense for like 2-3 weeks. Now I'm only doing 2-week trips because I just get burnt out if I do. I did a month trip in India and I just was so burnt out. So
I want to go through your workflow a little deeper, but I have one question for you. You just mentioned you shoot 3 videos in one day. What decides when the video starts and when it ends? Like why not 1 video in the day and why not 5? Like what creates the 3?
Again, I'm optimizing for quantity over quality, so I can just keep consistently uploading on YouTube because I know that YouTube it will benefit you if you are uploading consistently. So they may not be the best quality, but I'm just getting them out, and like you said, done is better than finished. And in terms of like when I start and finish, I kind of just like plan a little bit before I leave the hotel. Like, okay, I'm going to go to this tourist attraction and then have something to eat. That's 1 video done. Second video is I'm going to go to a market and buy lots of different things, speak to locals. Okay, that's the second video.
Is it because it creates a good thumbnail and title, or?
Yeah, at the moment, like I changed how I do it. I used to just kind of go out and film. Now I'm thinking of the title sometimes and then going out and filming for that title. Okay. But obviously, as we all know, when you're just filming out in the streets, random things can happen.
Unexpected.
Yeah. So it doesn't always happen as I plan it.
And sometimes those are like the best parts of
exactly.
Right? They really make
are.
for that the best parts.
But how would you title something like going to the market? Because like to the average person, they're gonna be like, that sounds mundane. Like, and most people have a hard time telling themselves to post because they think it has to be like explosions and $1 million budgets. Like, how do you title something to make it attractive like that?
I've learnt over the last year, like just by trial and error, seeing which ones work and which ones don't, and just like trying to use clickbait in a sensible way. Obviously, not doing a stupid clickbait like "I nearly died," or but just being like something like "I was shocked" or something. And if I was going to a market, I don't know, I'd just like put the price dollar of how much I spent because when you put the price, sometimes it's good for like SEO.
Yeah, agreed.
And maybe like have like an expensive item in the thumbnail, and you just learn slowly what works and what doesn't work by trial and error.
So you're not just calling it going to the market, you're focusing on one event within the market trip.
Yeah. And like people love it when you interact with locals, and especially the locals in that country, they love it. So I always try and get locals in the video or get them in the title is even better.
And obviously you went from a period of posting daily for 10 months. How often are you posting now? What's your consistency now?
Bi-daily.
Bi-daily, so once every 2 days. Wow, okay. And
easier.
So when you kind of go out, you've got these trips planned. You're to some degree, obviously, planning for your thumbnails and titles in mind with what your activities for the day are going to be. You shoot, let's say, for a week. You say of like a trip.
2 weeks now.
2 weeks now,
yeah.
And that obviously buys you sort of how much roughly in terms of a backlog?
It can be like I just went to Pakistan and filmed just over 30 videos, between 30 and 35 videos. So that's like 2 months off. It's nice.
It sounds great.
It does sound great, but then I'm working on Facebook in the back end of it and TikTok, and
Yeah.
I could always go to daily. Like
Yeah.
I may go to daily in November, December. We'll see.
You mentioned you've got 2 members on your team as well. What sort of roles are they do they have within the team?
So I've like played around with having multiple team members, and I've just got like 2 at the moment. I'm just super happy. They're 2 superstars. One full-time editor who's just doing YouTube, Facebook, and then I've got a personal assistant, which I never knew I needed a personal assistant until I got one, because they are literally a lifesaver. Like hotel collabs, sponsorships, they help me sort out all of that, and just like the back end of all the boring mundane tasks.
Like what?
Like YouTube comments, like
Mm-hmm.
uploading videos onto my second Instagram account, uploading videos on my TikTok, just stuff that when I'm traveling, it just saves me, even if it's like 10 minutes, 20 minutes here.
Do they book your flights? Do they?
No, don't book my flights, just because like at the moment I'm just booking everything super late,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
I just love being flexible.
I agree. I tried to do that. I tried to get to a place where somebody could help me there, but I'm not organized enough. I don't have a schedule.
You
like
book your own flights as well.
pretty much most of the time.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Most of the time.
I
I'd
don't-
love the idea of having
Me
somebody
too.
to do it, but usually it's like the night before, and I'm like, they're not working right now.
Exactly,
so.
exactly. And sometimes like it's hard to book flights. Like
It's the most annoying shit in the world. The amount of declined payments and
Yes.
like, oh my God, it drives me crazy. It's my least favorite thing to do. Whenever I have to go book a flight, I'm like, here we go again.
A real horror
Ah, shit.
show.
Yeah. Ooh.
Ooh.
Finally, it's starting to make sense why we're all painted, right?
Yeah, so with obviously your process, well, your final product being more under the idea of like done rather than perfect. What kind of involvement do you have in that post production? You've got a lead editor who takes over or who does the majority of the edit, but do you ever kind of come in and give a bit of feedback? What's that process like?
So basically, he sends me. So I edit on Final Cut. He edits on Final Cut as well, and he sends me the project file. I open it, skim through the video, sometimes on 2x speed, because I'm just like, I just feel like it's good enough, and delete anything. You know, sometimes I just say stupid things, so I delete it. Sometimes I swear, I try and delete that, and yeah, and then upload it myself onto YouTube. It's pretty simple.
In your 1080p, right?
No, I'm 4K.
You're uploading in 4K.
Yeah. I've toyed with the idea of going back to 1080p, but I did a community post and it was like 20% watching 4K. So I thought,
Yeah, and it's only going to become more.
exactly.
It's tricky. So I just came back from doing daily vlogging in Thailand, and we were pretty much every day. We missed a couple spots, but we moved to 1080 for that everyday upload, and I have to say, it felt so nice.
Really?
It makes life so much better. Like the all of the editing team, like their computers just blaze through it. The exports happen almost instantly. Moving files across is so much easier. Like if I'd shot in 4K, most days would be 75 to 120 gigabytes of raw data. Now, if we shoot 1080, it's like a tenth of that. It's like maybe 12 gigabytes. It's so much easier.
You're tempting me.
How do you move your 4K footage off to your editor when you're in Pakistan?
I just try and book good hotels with good Wi-Fi, but it's really hard. It takes all night sometimes. And I obviously I film a lot. It's like sometimes 30, 40, 50 gigabytes of footage every day. So
I guess you are on a GoPro though, so the 4K files are at least a little bit more. They're not as sizable as let's say the Canon would be.
Yeah.
Okay. Are you flying a drone?
No, I had a drone. I crashed it in Pakistan on my first trip. And then I've been meaning to get one ever since, but I just haven't got around to it. Plus, I've been with people who have... I go to countries like India and places like that. They're super strict with drones. They just...
Right.
And I just don't know if I want the hassle.
Yeah.
But it's definitely something that I'm going to probably get, like, even if it's just the DJI Mini.
Yep.
Because I love flying drones, but just never thought... It just doesn't fit into my content super well.
Right.
It would just be more for all the fun of it.
Because we were talking about like long form, like if it was dead or not. And you know what? Like, no surprise, it's not. It's going to have its place. But what I'm curious about is whether you think cinematics is, like, tell me how you do your cinematics, your B-roll, as some people call it. Is it present? Is there any?
Not in my current videos. There's none. I did I did used to put a little bit, like a minute at the start if it was like an intro, but I've just stopped just because it's like time and it just takes too long. I obviously used to be a freelance videographer, so I loved making cinematic films, but it just earned me no money, and it's still my passion. And I'll maybe go full circle one day and bring cinematics in. But I was making cinematic videos with just music, so there was not really any storyline. Whereas now I'm making obviously videos with storyline, so I just say like the number one thing is making a story, and so I think cinematics isn't dead, but it's you definitely just got to do it right and not just put music and have like girls in the background and DJI FPV shots.
Yeah. Well, it's definitely time consuming, right?
Yes, very.
To edit, to shoot, it really holds back, I think, the main purpose, which is story, if you don't know how to do it well.
Exactly, yeah. It's super time consuming, but it's like for most people who are videographers, it's just absolute passion for them. And when you can make that, when you can make money out of it, it's just incredible.
No doubt.
I'm curious though as well, because sometimes, we talk about the unexpected things can happen and sometimes they end up kind of being the best part of your video, but surely there must be, especially on such a such a heavy daily occurrence, right? Maybe there must be the opposite of something where it's like so expected that it doesn't reach that kind of level of like, oh, there might even be a story here. So how does one actually build a story for out of something that might have felt, as you were shooting, as you were experiencing it, a little bit more mundane?
Yeah, that's a good question. Like there are times where I've just been filming and just nothing great happens. Like maybe the waitress I'm having is like super like rude or not great on camera. You just gotta like keep going. Sometimes I'll bin it, I won't use it, and I'll just move on to the next spot. Sometimes I just like if I'm with someone, I'll just like use them as a way of creating entertainment, like bounce jokes off them, or just like just make it comical. But yeah, there's been many times where I'm just like, oh, this is just not going very well. But you just got to keep going, and I'm sure like in places like India, Pakistan, it's just walking down the street is content. Like if you walk around soon enough, someone is going to come who's just great on camera, got so much like charisma.
I mean, you recently released a video which was sort of spending 24 hours in Pakistan with zero money and kind of seeing how, what the outcome could be if trying to prove almost that like if people have this idea or preconceived notion of what Pakistan is, it's actually really friendly, right? But that obviously kind of comes with a little bit more level of pre-planning. Okay, I'm going to do this concept of, a story of not having any budget with me at all and sort of seeing what can happen. And then that obviously, how often are you kind of looking to plan videos like that have a specific concept versus more experiential, I'm going to a specific location type of videos?
So when I first started, it was 90% just going out and filming. And now as I get towards like the latter stages, I'm like kind of moving more towards planned videos. That's the direction I want to take my channel in, is like challenges and just planning more, because it creates leverage. And I just love making challenges, getting myself outside my comfort zone. And that $0 challenge was like, it just made me so happy making that. I loved every minute of it. So in terms of just like changing how I do things, I'm definitely going to do more challenges. But it does take definitely a lot more planning.
When you're off on the road traveling, are you also simultaneously posting? Because you mentioned that you kind of do like, 3 weeks on, or then maybe you come, or maybe 2 months of travel, then 2 months in Bali to kind of recoup, not be on the road as much. So how does it work when you're on the road versus here? What kind of like production or works, how does the work life look?
So what I try and do is when I know I'm going on a big trip, like a 2-week trip, I try and schedule as many videos as possible. And that just depends on how hardworking I am before. But ideally, I'd like to get, like at the moment, I've got like 8 videos scheduled, so I don't have to worry for the next few weeks. And that's the way I want to keep it, just have a huge backlog. And same with Facebook, I try and get like as many videos scheduled, because I'm daily on Facebook as well, but it's much easier because they're shorter videos. Sometimes I do have to end up posting when I'm actually in the country, but it's not as bad as you think. Like I try and book some nice hotels when I'm in like Pakistan and places like this, because the internet is just so much better. And obviously when I'm filming all day, like 8 hours a day. It's so nice to just go back to somewhere that's like really, really nice.
That's it. Yeah. I do the same thing. I try to stay at nicer places because it's like almost an insurance over your camera gear too, right? Like when you're traveling around with your, even if it's not super valuable, but like your hard drives or whatever you have, if that was taken, like it's going to be a huge, huge setback. So yeah, nice hotels, fast internet.
Not only insurance on equipment as well, but also insurance on your storytelling ability, because you'll wake up the next morning, you'll have rested
Exactly.
well, you're going to be in a good mindset because you will have recalibrated a little bit, and
Very true.
that kind of allows you to wake up feeling fresh and ready for the next challenge, the next part of the adventure.
Exactly. Like people comment like, I can tell you're tired on the videos when I'm like 50 videos deep into a series, and it really shows. So that's why for me, getting a good night's sleep, getting a nice shower, warm shower, because I've been to places where I haven't had running water for like 4 days. So now I'm just like avoiding that at all costs and trying to stay in like nicer places and just treat myself when I'm in these countries. And of course, yeah, just like I used to love to go to hostels and the social side of it, but now I'm just not sure how I can do it because, like you said, hard drives and stuff.
Yeah, it's tricky, and it definitely doesn't let you sleep very well sometimes.
Exactly, yeah.
So here's a question that I get asked a lot, because there's a lot of people from different sides of the world, from different, with LCA, we've got people literally in most countries, and they always ask like, okay, if I start a channel in my home language, I'm stuck to one demographic. If I, only travel Bangladesh or I only travel the Philippines, I'm only going to build that audience. Now you have kind of focused on some unique markets. You've spent a lot of time in Pakistan, Lebanon, where else? The
Philippines, India.
So let's focus on like those 4 areas. None of them are particularly wealthy countries, and therefore their people watching your videos also don't necessarily have a large disposable income compared to a Western country. Do you believe that, people can build successful, let's say profitable businesses by focusing in on demographics like the Philippines, like India, etc.?
Yeah, that's a good question. Like, obviously, my RPM is probably lower than the average, definitely lower than the average YouTuber. But I think like my views kind of equate for it. Like my views are obviously larger than most travel YouTubers who are going to less populated countries. So I'd say, yeah, like as long as you're like creating great content and getting the views, the revenue is there for me. Also, like I try and do one country with like a lower RPM and then sprinkle in a little bit of like Western countries or maybe Indonesia where it's going to be higher RPM.
Oh, interesting. Okay, that's an interesting thing. Now, that's of RPM, for those that don't know, that's like the amount of money you're getting per 1,000 views. So let's say your RPM is 5. That means you get $5 every time you get 1,000 views. Maybe it's 1. That means $1 for every 1,000 views. That's, of course, just the ad revenue that's given to you directly from social media. Do you find sponsors are wanting to sponsor your videos, or are you relying entirely on ad revenue from the platforms?
Yeah, I get sponsors. I like, obviously they're not as well paid as probably other travel YouTubers who are going to Western countries, but I'm happy with it, and like it's bringing me an income that I'm very happy with, and so I'm not complaining at all. And yeah, like I try and limit to like maximum 2 sponsors a month, and yeah, that's how I'm.
Only 2 sponsors per month.
Yeah, so only 2 videos. That's like maximum. Sometimes I won't even do 2.
Okay. You've shared with us that you're part of like this mastermind group, and there's about 4 guys in there. A lot of them, actually, 2 of them are in LCA, and we've kind of watched them come up, and they're doing it the same way you are. But they're traveling to places like Lebanon, to maybe Bangladesh, Pakistan, even I think Afghanistan. Like maybe that last one's not correct.
No, we haven't been to Afghanistan, but I'm planning a trip to Afghanistan, hopefully.
Okay.
So that'll be interesting. I think maybe Luke is. I'm not sure.
So you guys are taking the path less traveled, and you're going and building, empires by entertaining people in these countries. My question is, so far we've heard that the brand deals, of course, they're out there. That's great. You can make money through the sponsorship or the ad revenue through platforms. Has anybody cracked a way to, let's say, sell directly products, services? Have any of you guys found a way to monetize with your own product?
So I think Mac is working on like travel guides. He's like really in-depth travel guides. Luke doesn't really mess around with other revenue platforms. I think what he has is going really well, so he's just sticking to it.
He messes around with fireworks, doesn't he?
Yeah, he loves fireworks. That's it. And I'm also doing like a little bit of private consulting for like small YouTubers on the side, but that's very, very small. I think we're all just focusing on the growth for now, and then once we get to the stage where we're happy, we'll just work on other streams. But one thing I also forgot to mention is that we actually get a lot of views from expats who have left the country and now live in Western countries. So they actually have a higher purchasing power. So for example, like I get from my Pakistan series, I get a ton of viewers from USA, UK who have moved there, who miss their country.
Yes.
And so that actually is good for the RPM, but it's like I'm super happy with how everything's going. So
from my observation, if there's one thing I've seen, is that, you know, you might not make as much per view, but it seems like there's more views to be out, like to be grabbed, because when you go for a Western country, maybe it's like the consumer habits is not there. Like, I don't know, maybe Western world people just don't watch as much YouTube or much social media, or at least not in the same way. Or it's just that there's more competition. But whenever I've made videos in the Philippines, like they skyrocket. When I have made videos about India, they did super well. And I've seen people, Western people go, and I'm like, man, you could literally make millions of dollars by being that person. My friend Will Dasovich actually exploded in the Philippines, where he's half Filipino, but he was from America, and he became like the Casey Neistat of the Philippines.
Right.
And I mean, millions of dollars is no stretch. He's made great money doing it. So, you know, I definitely don't think anyone should be discouraged from making less per view when there's so many views to be found.
exactly, that's what I'm saying. Like, there's no way, like the video I made that got like 2.4 million in India. There's no way that would happen if I posted it in like France or Spain. There's literally like no chance. And maybe my RPM was pretty low for that. Maybe like between $1.50 and $2, so fairly low. But the views is like 2.4 million, so it still made like a decent amount.
Yeah.
Harry, you touched on obviously one of the key things, especially when you're starting out as a beginner YouTuber, is the thumbnail game being like a little bit poor if you're not kind of getting that reach. But obviously thumbnails being quite important. One of the sort of following ones there is the retention rate, kind of keeping people sticking around. And so, you know, something that's quite spooky when it comes to really, really long videos is that retention rate. So how does one, especially with such long videos, keep that retention rate going?
So you got to nail the intro. Like if you look at the analytics, the intro is where most people click off. So I'd say get a really strong intro, tell people what is going to happen in the video in the intro, and then just keep the story. So if you're traveling somewhere, just film every little part of it. If you're going for a meal, film the entrance to the meal, film speaking to the waiter, and then make sure you film paying for the bill, and don't skip any parts out, because when you skip people, it kind of like is a bit jarring, and people are like, oh, what's going on? And then they just lose interest. Keep them interested with a storyline, and I always just try and like crack jokes, like be comical, even though I'm not very funny, but just try and.
I'd beg to differ.
Oh, you're too kind.
I mean, look at your face, dude.
Yeah.
I know. I don't know how people
coming from me.
No, I think that's another big part that you just kind of touched on there, is what is the personality is kind of a big factor, because people buy from people, right? People buy and watch people because of who they are. So what might be some tips that you might be able to share? Because I know you did a recent video as well, which was how to grow on YouTube in 2022. So what kind of are maybe some of those key tips for on-camera presence and any other tips that you might have?
I'd say like the number one question that I get asked is like how to start and, you know, how to get confidence on camera. And loads of people, they're worrying about, you know, step 20 before they worry about step 1. So step 1 is just take action, just film, even if you don't even have to post it, just film. Like ideally you'd post it. But I'd say take action, film. Also, if you're worried about confidence issues, you know, you got to start baby steps. So first of all, maybe just send like a voice note to your group chat. Get used to listening to your own voice. Once you're used to that, film on your phone, just like talking to your phone. keep doing it until you're confident with that. And then the next step is film with a camera. And obviously people get really like nervous about filming in public. And I used to hate filming in public, but it's about repetition. You got to keep going. It's like going to the gym. So just like slowly build up to it, film in front of your friends. And then once you're confident there, film in public and just keep going.
Yeah,
Practice makes perfect, right? Or as Christian might say, practice makes perfect.
You are too good today. You're on a roll.
That was pretty good.
Thank you.
That was really good. You know, actually, that starting stage of a creator's journey is by far like the most fragile time. It's like a time of self-doubt, and like you said, confidence on camera is one of those foundations that have to be developed. And, you know, one of the things that we did with Lost Creator Academy is we actually just released a 10-day creator challenge, which is a 10-step process to getting yourself to getting 10,000 views on your videos. So we actually have a $47 10-step process. It takes 10 days. It's learn at your own pace. So even if you've got an extremely busy life, no stress. We even have the guarantee in there that if you don't get 10,000 views within your first 10 videos of taking this program, we'll fully refund you the $47. So pretty wild. It'll help you out in so many ways. I just finished up that entire product, and I'm very proud to have it out. So if you want to check it out, it's linked down below.
Cheeky little plug.
Hell yeah. Is it 10,000 views on YouTube?
Yep.
Wow.
Any platform that they choose.
That's a big claim.
You know, it is a big claim. And, you know, it's just one of those things that when you run the numbers, look, there's going to be some people that don't hit that goal. That's fine. We'll refund them. We just want to see people better off than when they came through. But whenever you follow these steps, we're so confident that it's going to, you know, people are going to be miles ahead of where they were. And 10,000 views is like, that's like half of a NHL or NBA stadium. So like if we can get that kind of attendance to someone's videos, we think they'll be pretty stoked.
I love that.
Yeah.
Seeing as it's Halloween, I want to ask you, Harry, what is your biggest fear as a content creator?
Irrelevance.
I mean, I don't think I have too many fears. I guess like I can't think of any.
A fearless man.
Yeah,
Fearless.
you're gonna do just fine on Halloween.
Yeah. What about maybe something that you wish someone had told you before you started out? Something that might have helped you.
Post every day.
Post every day?
Yeah, honestly,
Which is what
like
you were doing,
if I would give like a piece of advice to someone who's like started posting and just want to like accelerate, or maybe just want to get better, because all you got to do is just keep making better videos. People can talk about the YouTube algorithm and all this, but just make better videos. So I would say set yourself like a 30-day challenge, or like even if it's a 1-week challenge, and just film every day. Again, you don't have to post it, but just make the videos.
There's like this stat. It's like if you improve 1% every day, or in your case, if you improved 1% every video you posted, your video would be 37 times better by the end of 1 year. That's like the mathematic of the exponential growth, right? Like if you just put in the work, then you're going to get better. You'll learn how to export faster. You'll learn how to do your battery charging at the end of the day faster and more effectively. You'll learn every step of the way. And then like in a year's time, you won't even recognize where you started.
Exactly.
I'm a huge fan of daily vlogs. I think they're the best way to learn, because
I agree.
It's just a grind. It's not easy, and it's not going to work for most people because they just don't have the work ethic. But it's the fastest way to just like put fuel and jet fuel to the growth. It's amazing.
Yeah, like if you look at my first vlogs, which would be around about a year ago, they're terrible. Like I'm holding the camera, like Mac had to keep telling me like keep your hand up. Like,
And this is only a year ago.
only less than a year ago.
Wow.
And I was just like very unconfident. Like the storyline was terrible, but I did it. I kept posting and I got better. And I just say that that's literally the best thing you can do.
How did you find these guys?
So I saw Mac on TikTok. I was living in Dubai as a freelance videographer, and saw him on TikTok. And I was also going on TikTok, so we like bounced a few questions off each other. We met up and we got on like a house on fire, and just been friends ever since. And then he invited me on this trip to Pakistan, and I didn't know anything about Pakistan. I was just like, yeah, why not? Like if he invites me, I'm gonna go. And went, and then that's when I started vlogging, and pretty much so for some reason like the month I went to Pakistan was literally just did so well in Pakistan.
Damn.
And I still don't know why. Like, there's been people who have been to Pakistan and haven't done as well. And I think maybe it's becoming a little bit of a cliche place for vloggers to go, because they know that there's easy growth there. But I had no idea when I went, and was very fortunate.
Yeah. Well, that's the power of community. You are, growing at a pace that people usually take a few years to achieve. So you've kind of, you put in the hard work and you took a lot of really, really good pointers and ran with it.
Thank you. Yeah, I literally would not say. I don't like to take credit because it's like
no, you should take credit. You should take credit though.
Thank you.
You were the one that put in the hard work, and you're the one that's running around the world to make it happen. So, guys, if you guys want to check out more of Harry's stuff, we'll have it linked down below. See for yourself what it means to, not expect perfection out of yourself, but hit the publish button because it works. It really does. Everyone has to find their style, but this is a style that is incredibly effective. So congrats, man.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you so much for
really
coming out.
Harry, what's the, sorry, before we wrap up though, what's the sort of the future of the channel? Where do you see it kind of going over the next couple of years?
Like I'm getting more into a bit of philanthropy, like giving back to others. Like obviously not like Mr. Beast style, but I get the most enjoyment out of videos when I give back to people. So gonna keep doing that. Like the Pakistan video I just made, I did a fundraiser, and I'll be donating like over $1,000 for that. And more challenges, like getting outside my comfort zone. So I've got some crazy plans in terms of just doing wild challenges. And then just more of the usual, going to wild countries. Got Afghanistan, hopefully, maybe Syria. There's no country I wouldn't go to.
Nice. And what about Halloween plans, lads? Before we sign off, anything planned? Anything
My plans
spooky?
are to go wash this off.
Awesome. Well, also I do have a quick little Halloween plan, which I thought it'd be nice to share, especially today, which is that I'll be releasing a short horror film that I made with some friends here in Bali. The reason why I wanted to share this though is because it was just a little weekend trip that we took up to Tabanan in Bali. We got a bamboo villa, and rather than just making sort of the more standard content, we thought let's make a little horror film. And again, the reason I wanted to share this is because it really took me back to being a kid. When I was 13, I used to make horror films with my sister, and it's what really got me kind of into wanting to make films and wanting to be a movie maker. And I think it's really, really important as well that you don't kind of like lose that touch sometimes. You kind of go back to the things that remind you of why you do what you do. So on this Halloween, share that love.
Proud of you. I'm excited to watch it.
Yeah. I'll leave a little clip in here somewhere, like a little trailer or something.
Cheeky plug.
A little cheeky plug.
Gotta plug the Halloween.
Gotta plug the Halloween. All right, guys, I hope you have this very spooky one. And go get lost.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.